Imagine for a moment being the director of your own dreams.
Mm-hmm.
Picture exploring impossible landscapes, having conversations with figments of your imagination like they were right there.
Vividly real, yeah.
Is this just fantasy? Or could this capacity for conscious dreaming, well, could it unlock something deeper?
That's the big question.
We're plunging into the captivating world of lucid dreaming today. These remarkable states where you know you're dreaming and, can often shape what happens.
And stick with us until the very end on this one.
Oh yeah, you might be surprised by how these experiences kind of bridge the gap between science and spirituality.
The core of our exploration is really this. Are lucid dreams just fascinating neurological events happening inside our heads?
Right, just brain stuff.
Or could they potentially be gateways, maybe to spiritual realms or, even alternate universes? We'll be looking at it from a few angles, so keep watching.
And to help guide our thinking, we're bringing in the wisdom of Alan Watts.
Watts. Always insightful.
He just had this knack, didn't he? Explaining profound ideas with such lightness, such humor, made them accessible.
Absolutely. His focus on intuition, interconnectedness, it fits perfectly here.
We'll be thinking about his perspectives, especially that quote, "You don't know where your decisions come from, they pop up like hiccups."
Or the other one, you make a snap judgment, that instant knowing.
Exactly. Those really set the stage for what we're talking about.
So we'll look at the science first. Neuroscience, people like Stephen LaBerge, groundbreaking stuff, validating lucid dreaming.
Yeah, the hard evidence.
And then we'll contrast that, or maybe complement it, with spiritual traditions, Tibetan dream yoga especially.
Which have been talking about this for centuries.
Precisely. A very different but equally fascinating take on conscious dream states.
And for you listening, we've really taken your interests as our guide here. We want to navigate that fascinating territory where science and spirituality meet.
All through this lens of lucid dreaming and, Alan Watts' insights.
Our mission in this deep dive, to really investigate whether these dreams are cosmic doorways.
Or maybe more like intricate reflections of our own minds.
Guided by science, spirituality, and of course, Watts.
Let's jump in.
Okay, let's dive right into the science then. This idea of the brain as a kind of internal portal. I mean, think about it. That moment you become aware in a dream, when you suddenly decide, I'm going to fly or, change the scenery.
Something incredible is happening.
Your brain just lights up, almost like you're awake. It's generating entire worlds experientially.
That's right. And the scientific work, people like LaBerge leading the way, it shows these aren't just passive fantasies.
Not just watching a movie.
No, definitely not. They're active states of consciousness, but within sleep, which, potentially offers this unique portal. Maybe to explore our own minds, or maybe, as Watts might say, touching something broader, that cosmic flow.
That quote fits again, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You don't know where your decisions come from, like these vivid dreams just bubbling up.
Exactly, from the depth.
It was really Stephen LaBerge at Stanford back in the 70s who changed the game.
Before him,
lucid dreaming was kind of, folklore, wasn't it?
pretty much. But his research, the stuff published in the early 80s, his book, it gave it solid scientific ground.
He had those clever experiments, right? Dreamers signaling lucidity.
Yeah, with specific eye movements during REM sleep.
No.
They could actually record it. Objective proof.
Amazing.
And what's so compelling is, his scientific validation. It echoed practices that were already ancient, like the 11th century Tibetan philosopher Naropa.
Wow, centuries earlier.
Centuries detailing methods for cultivating lucid dreams. That historical parallel is just striking.
So it's not a new phenomenon at all.
Not at all. And today, you've got the Lucidity Institute, which LaBerge founded, still pushing the research. And recent data suggests, maybe 20-30% of people experience them spontaneously?
That many just happen.
Apparently so. It makes you almost hear Watts saying, you make a snap judgment about our whole reality, awake or dreaming.
Exactly. And then you look at the brain scans. fMRI studies.
Right. Researchers like Martin Dressler.
They see increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the logic, decision-making part.
That, and also areas like the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the parietal lobe, crucial for self-awareness.
So parts of the brain associated with being awake are active during sleep?
Precisely. It suggests this fascinating hybrid state, part sleep, part wakefulness.
Wow.
And there's more. Research suggests that frequent lucid dreamers might actually have denser gray matter in that prefrontal cortex.
So the practice itself might change the brain. Neuroplasticity.
It points that way. And that vividness you mentioned, why they feel so real, seems linked to that parietal lobe activity. It integrates sensory experience.
Makes you wonder about the spontaneity of it all, like Watt said.
You don't know where your decisions come from. They pop up like hiccups, even in the sleeping brain.
And the things people can do in lucid dreams.
Yeah.
It's remarkable. Consciously changing the story, flying, or having really meaningful talks with dream characters. LaBerge even documented people solving real-world problems in their dreams.
Back in 1990, yeah. And more recently, a 2021 study showed potential for practicing motor skills.
In a dream. And it helps in waking life.
Measurable improvements, apparently. Rehearsing movements mentally shows the practical potential, maybe for learning, even therapy.
That's incredible.
And even more recently, 2024 research, it opened up the possibility of actual communication during dreams.
Wait, two-way communication.
Bidirectional, yeah. Lucid dreamers responding to questions using pre-agreed eye movements.
That is just astonishing. It really starts to blur the lines, doesn't it? The boundaries of our mind.
It does.
And this brings us back to, how you understand your own reality and how that might connect with Watts's view. This cooperative universe idea.
And the neuroscience backs it up in a way, finding that the brain uses the same pathways for perceiving dream experiences as it does for waking perception.
The same circuits.
Seems so. Which is particularly thought-provoking when you connect it to more speculative ideas.
Like the multiverse.
Maybe even that, or certainly those anecdotal accounts you find sometimes. People describing dreams with totally different physical laws.
Right, like gravity working differently or something.
Exactly. It makes you question reality itself, And Watt's quotes feel so relevant there. Everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key. Or acknowledging that the universe is an endless mystery to itself. It invites possibilities beyond the everyday.
Okay, let's pause here for a second. Now, for some good news.
Good news is always welcome.
If you're finding this exploration into lucid dreaming as fascinating as we are, and if it's sparking ideas for you,
which we hope it is,
then taking just a moment to click like and maybe drop a comment below really helps YouTube understand what you enjoy.
Yeah, it tells the algorithm, more stuff like this, please.
Exactly. So they'll recommend similar deep dives to you. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to the deep dive so you don't miss future explorations.
And share it. If you know someone who'd find this captivating, send it their way.
Please do. Okay, back to it. Shift perspective now.
Yeah.
Alan Watts' philosophy as maybe a mystical lens for these scientific findings.
Yeah, I like that. A different way of seeing it. And that quote again, you don't know where your decisions come from, they pop up like hiccups.
Exactly. Watts really emphasized this idea of intuitive flow, didn't he?
That sense that decisions, experiences, they just arise spontaneously from somewhere deeper, part of a cosmic rhythm.
You can really see how that connects to controlling lucid dreams. It's not about forcing it, is it?
No, not brute force control. It's more like flowing with the dream, trusting that underlying intelligence.
Yeah, that analogy, the balsa wood raft.
Yeah, on a river.
Yeah.
Fight the current, you struggle, trust the flow, you're carried effortlessly. That's the feeling sometimes in lucidity.
It is. And his broader view of reality as this interconnected whole, where the separate ego is, mostly an illusion.
That profoundly shifts how you might see lucid dreams. The dreamer realizing they're both the observer and the observed.
The dreamer in the dreamed world.
Exactly. Which, interestingly, mirrors the Tibetan Buddhist view of dreams as illusions to be recognized, transcended.
Watt said, the more you trust it as another, the more you realize the inseparable identity of self and other.
And also, the universe is an endless mystery to itself, that acceptance of not fully knowing.
And this idea of unity, it really opens up that possibility of dreams as cosmic portals again.
Those reports we mentioned, people describing other worlds in their lucid dreams.
Right.
Watts often spoke of the great Tao, didn't he? That fundamental principle underlying everything.
The great Tao flows everywhere.
Exactly. So are these lucid experiences somehow tapping into that universal current, that interconnectedness? It makes you wonder.
Watts also talked a lot about trust, especially facing the unknown.
Crucial. And it applies so well to lucid dreaming. Trusting the experience itself, trusting your own subconscious without needing to slap a label on it.
Is it purely science? Is it purely mystical? Maybe it doesn't matter.
Maybe the trust is the key. Watt said, the way to become one with the universe is to trust it. And also, I don't know is the same thing as I love, I let go.
Letting go of the need to control or define everything.
Right. And interestingly, research actually shows that trying too hard to control a lucid dream can make you lose lucidity.
Really? So forcing it breaks the connection.
It seems so. There's a delicate balance, awareness and surrender.
And it's fascinating to think about Watt's ideas now, with all the tech emerging, gadgets and apps to help induce lucid dreams.
Oh, absolutely. You can just imagine Watts being critical of our obsession with control, right? Trying to engineer these states.
He emphasized flowing with the dream consciousness, not dominating it.
The principle of unity is not to try to obtain power over the universe, he said. He talked about a practical utopia. I can almost hear him asking with a smile.
Let's see what you're going to do.
Exactly, with this incredible capacity we all have.
Okay, let's shift again. Tibetan dream yoga. This ancient tradition offers another really profound perspective.
A very different framework.
Viewing lucid dreams not just as interesting, but as vital spiritual training. A path to seeing through illusion, reaching higher states.
That's right. It's rooted in traditions like the 6 yogas of Naropa. The core idea is that waking life and dreaming life share this quality of illusion.
So they're not fundamentally different in that sense.
From that perspective, no. So lucid dreams become opportunities, real chances for spiritual growth, insight. And again, you feel that resonance with Watts, the great Tao flowing everywhere, transcending waking and dreaming.
Can you tell us a bit about the actual practices? How do they do it?
Sure. It often involves daytime meditations, building mindfulness, basically, so that awareness carries over into sleep.
Training the mind while awake.
Exactly. And then specific visualizations before sleep, like picturing a luminous flame at the throat chakra. You see that described in texts like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, or by modern teachers like Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche.
A flame at the throat.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, and practitioners report achieving really deep lucidity this way. Even encounters with spiritual teachers, transformative experiences within the dream, and again, Watt's great Tao flows everywhere. Feels right, that sense of reality pervading all states.
It's fascinating how these connections keep popping up between ancient practice and modern science.
It really is. The intentions might differ, science looking at cognition, therapy, dream yoga at awakening.
Right.
But there's a shared recognition that the dream state is malleable, plastic. And interestingly, neuroscience studies on Tibetan meditation show activation in the prefrontal cortex.
The same area active in lucid dreaming.
Exactly, suggesting a potential neurobiological overlap. And practitioners talk about experiencing pure realities in lucid dreams, which makes you think of Watts again.
Synergy?
Synergy is the intelligence of a highly complex system. Perhaps these states tap into that intelligence.
It really broadens your perspective. Realizing dreams as significant spaces, maybe portals, isn't just one culture's idea.
Not at all. It's cross-cultural. Think of shamanic traditions like the Lakota described by Black Elk, dreams as spirit journeys, sources of guidance, or Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime, a fundamental reality accessed via dreams. Even Sufism, Rumi, dreams as pathways to the divine.
Wow.
It just underscores Watts' vision of an interconnected cosmos, doesn't it? The great Tao flows everywhere. And maybe even hints at, you don't know where your decisions come from. These experiences arising as part of a larger unfolding.
So how do you think Watts himself would have viewed all these different spiritual traditions, seeing dreams this way?
I think he'd see them as, different rivers flowing from the same source, different expressions of that same underlying Tao.
You'd appreciate the diversity.
Deeply, I suspect. Especially how a tradition like dream yoga actively celebrates and cultivates dreams as these creative, transformative portals. His emphasis on trust, the way to become one with the universe is to trust it, aligns perfectly with surrendering into the dream state.
And a sense of wonder, too.
Absolutely. The universe is an endless mystery to itself that resonates with exploring these often unclassifiable, deeply personal dream experiences. And it's neat how the visualization practices align with neuroscience findings about meditation strengthening the prefrontal cortex. It all circles back to...
We'll see what you're going to do.
Right, with this innate capacity we have.
This is all incredibly mind-expanding. Okay, let's step into slightly more speculative territory now.
Like edge cases.
Yeah. Could lucid dreams be more than internal scenarios or spiritual practices? Could they actually be portals to alternative realities, parallel dimensions even.
That's the question that really sparks the imagination, isn't it? And it fits Watt's idea that you don't know where your decisions come from, considering how wild and unrestricted dreams can feel.
We touched on it, but let's dive deeper into these other world experiences people report.
Right. As we mentioned, some research documents lucid dreamers describing worlds with different physical laws, altered gravity, impossible shapes, colors you don't normally see.
Strange physics.
Exactly. And encounters with seemingly autonomous beings inside the dream, entities that seem to know things the dreamer doesn't. You find these accounts, anecdotal but intriguing, on forums like from the Lucidity Institute. It's like Watt's balsa wood raft again, trust the flow, and who knows where you might end up.
And this thinking inevitably brushes up against physics concepts, like the multiverse.
It does. The idea of multiple universes coexisting, maybe with different laws, explored by physicists like Max Tegmark, it's still theoretical, mostly.
But not entirely dismissed by science.
Not entirely. Cosmological research lends some plausibility. And then you have more speculative theories, like Thomas Campbell's idea that consciousness itself is fundamental, and through consciousness we might access these other realities.
Yeah.
And remember, neuroscience shows the brain uses similar circuits for perceiving waking and dreaming realities, which makes you wonder about the nature of those perceived realities. Where do they originate? It brings back Watt's theme of unity. The great Tao flows everywhere.
But of course, we need the skeptical view, too.
Absolutely essential. Many researchers firmly argue lucid dreams, however real they feel, are brain products. Ursula Voss's work emphasizes the prefrontal cortex generating that feeling of lucidity.
Brain generating the experience internally.
Yes, and experiments using brain stimulation have even induced lucid dreams by targeting specific areas. Skeptics rightly point out these otherworld reports are subjective. There's no verifiable objective proof of accessing external realities. Dream content is heavily influenced by our waking life, our psychology.
So the brain is creating these convincing simulations.
That's the mainstream scientific view, and in this context, Watts's observations feel relevant again. The data for a decision is infinite, and the universe is an endless mystery. It reminds us of the limits of our current understanding.
So given these opposing views, how might Watts have approached this? Are they portals or not?
I think Watts would sidestep the either. He'd focus on the experience, the act of consciously flowing with the dream, regardless of its ultimate source.
The quality of the experience itself.
Exactly. Everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key, and you don't know where your decisions come from. Emphasizing the mystery, the spontaneity of consciousness. He resisted rigid boxes.
Embrace the complexity.
And the importance of trust. Like in his parables, trusting others, trusting the process. Parallels with surrender in dream yoga. It's about accepting the unknown. Interestingly, neuroscience suggests trust itself can amplify feelings of unity, which resonates deeply with Watts.
Okay, this leads us perfectly to the practical side for you listening. How can you actually start tapping into this potential?
Moving from theory to practice.
What are some concrete techniques?
Yeah.
Drawing from science, Tibetan practices, and that Wattsian idea of trust.
Right. Because as Watts might say, you don't know where your decisions come from that you can cultivate the right conditions. And ultimately,
The way to become one with the universe is to trust it.
that's the foundation. Trust the process, trust your mind.
So, for someone totally new to this, where should they start?
Well, science offers validated techniques. MyLD is a big one. Mnemonic induction of lucid dreams.
Mnemonic, like memory.
Yeah. You set a clear intention before sleep. Repeat a phrase like, tonight I'll realize I'm dreaming, and vividly visualize yourself already lucid in a dream. Studies show consistent practice significantly boosts lucidity for many.
Setting the intention strongly.
Exactly. And combine that with reality testing during the day.
What's reality testing?
Frequently asking yourself, am I dreaming right now? And doing a quick test. Try pushing your finger through your palm or check a clock twice in dreams. These often behave strangely. It builds a habit that can trigger in a dream.
Training yourself to question reality. And you mentioned WBTB earlier. Wake back to bed.
Yes, another effective one. Wake yourself up after about 5 or 6 hours sleep, when REM is more likely.
Set an alarm.
Yep. Stay awake briefly, maybe 20, 30 minutes. Quiet activity. Strongly reinforce your lucid dreaming intention, then go back to sleep. Research suggests this boosts prefrontal cortex activity.
Giving your conscious mind a nudge as you re-enter dreamland.
Kind of. And as Watts might say, everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key. You're setting the stage.
How do the Tibetan practices fit in here?
They offer a more spiritually focused approach, pre-sleep meditation, those specific visualizations, like the red flame at the throat chakra we talked about.
Right.
And reciting the intention to recognize the dream state. It's about cultivating heightened awareness, mental clarity that carries over, training the mind to stay present, even in sleep, which aligns with Watts' "you make a snap judgment," that moment of waking up within the dream.
It really sounds like trust is the thread weaving through all of these.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Watts, the way to become one with the universe is to trust it. Whether you're doing mild WBTB, Tibetan visualizations, there's an element of trusting the process, trusting your own capacity.
I think trying too hard backfires.
Often, yes. Trying to force it can break lucidity. Neuroscience even suggests letting go, surrender can enhance brain coherence. Maybe making lucid dreams flow more naturally. It echoes Watts on synergy.
Synergy is the intelligence of a highly complex system.
Well, exactly. Trusting that intelligence.
So, practical first step for a total beginner, putting it all together.
Okay, a simple plan. Start a dream journal. Consistent habit helps you tune in.
Got it. Journal first.
Then, every night before sleep, set a clear intention. I will have a lucid dream. Do regular reality tests during your day. Maybe try mildy with a simple visualization, even that Tibetan red flame idea.
Combine techniques gently.
Yes, after a few weeks of that, maybe experiment with the WBTB sometimes. But most importantly, remember Watts. Let's see what you're going to do, and the way to become one with the universe is to trust it. Be patient. Start small. Trust the exploration.
We have certainly journeyed through some fascinating territory today.
We really have.
Science, Tibetan dream yoga, Alan Watts reminding us you don't know where your decisions come from.
They pop up like hiccups.
And that ultimately, the great dial flows everywhere. Trust keeps coming up as central, doesn't it? Navigating that unconscious landscape. So congratulations to you, our listener, for sticking with us right to the end of this exploration.
Indeed. And reflecting on Watts, it really frames lucid dreaming as this beautiful dance, the cosmos unfolding in consciousness. You make a snap judgment, and suddenly you're aware of this co-creative process where everything cooperated with him because he had touched the key.
Right.
His emphasis on embracing mystery. The universe is an endless mystery to itself. I know, same thing as I love. Just encourages approaching dreams with open-minded wonder.
So practically, how can you, listening now, apply this Wattsian trust to your own lucid dreaming journey?
Well, consistency with reality testing helps prime the mind. Research backs that up.
Keep asking, am I dreaming?
Yes. Incorporating pre-sleep visualization, maybe that Tibetan flame, reciting the intention, keeping that dream journal is invaluable. Tracking progress, themes, recall.
Beyond specific techniques.
Apply trust to daily life, too. When facing uncertainty, ask, how can I flow with this? And maybe see lucid dreams, if they happen, as these little cosmic labs, exploring that synergy between your awareness and your unconscious.
Now it's your turn to engage with a deep dive. This exploration, especially through Watts' lens, suggests lucid dreams could be profound portals. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, share your experiences.
In the comments below, tell us, have you had lucid dreams? Ever felt like you're in another world? Seasoned dreamer or skeptic, your story adds to our collective exploration. Remember Watts. The more you give it away, the more it comes back.
And the more you trust it as another, the more you realize the inseparable identity of self and other.
We really hope you'll subscribe to The Deep Dive for more explorations like this: science, spirituality, mystery.
We've got some fascinating topics coming up. Alan Watts and modern shamanism, the science of intuition through a Wattsian lens.
As Watts reminded us, the universe is an endless mystery to itself.
So keep dreaming, keep trusting, keep exploring. Because, the more you give it away, the more it comes back.
Finally, as you drift off tonight, maybe entering that dream space,
Yeah.
consider this. Ask yourself, how is my trust guiding me in this dream? There are 2 videos appearing on your screen right now. Click the one that calls to you, the one that resonates, and continue your journey of exploration.